easier. And now we're moving right along with the 3 states of matter. Matter is any and everything that has mass and occupies space. Matter is made up of particles. Yeah. Matter exists in 3 distinct states: solids, liquids, and gases, as you can see in the picture right there. The temperature and pressure of an environment determines the states of matter at any particular time. All matter is made up of particles. The particles either vibrate or move from place to place. Attractive and repulsive forces exist between the particles, and the particles that make up matter can be atoms, molecules, or ions. And this is known as the particulate theory of matter. What's an atom? An atom is the smallest particle known to man. It cannot be broken down by chemical means. It comprises of protons, neutrons, and electrons. What's a molecule? A molecule is a particle that contains 1 or more atoms. When a molecule contains the same types of atoms, it is referred to as an element. For example, oxygen, which has 2 atoms of oxygen combined, hydrogen, which has 2 atoms of hydrogen atoms combined, chlorine, which has 2 atoms of chlorine atoms combined. Okay? So when the molecule contains different types of atoms, it is referred to as a compound. For example, water, H2O, it has 2 different types of atoms, which is the hydrogen and the oxygen. Glucose has 3 types of atoms, which is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And carbon dioxide, which has carbon and oxygen atoms to make its unit. What's an ion? An ion is an atom or a group of atoms with either a positive or a negative charge. Positive ions are referred to as cations. Negative ions are referred to as anions. Examples of ions are Na+, which is the sodium cation, O2-, which is the oxygen anion, NO3-, the nitrate anion, which is a polyatomic anion, meaning that it contains more than 1 type of atom. The arrangement of particles in a solid. The particles are arranged very closely. They have a regular pattern. The particles vibrate around a fixed point, but they do not move from place to place. The attractive force between particles is strong. Solids cannot be compressed. In a liquid, the particles are arranged very closely. They have an irregular pattern. The particles slide over each other slowly. The attractive force between particles are weaker than those in a solid, but stronger than those in a gas. Liquids cannot be compressed. In a gas, the particles are arranged very far apart. They have an irregular pattern. The particles move everywhere rapidly. There are almost no attractive force between the particles, and gases can be compressed. Transitioning between phases. The states of matter are also referred to as phases. Substances can be described as being in a solid, liquid, or gaseous phase. When substances gain or give off energy in the form of heat, they are expressed as transitioning from one phase to another. When a substance transitions from the solid phase to the liquid phase, it is said to be melting. You see the picture below? Let's try to determine the transitions which are going to take place. So, if you have a liquid turning into a gas or transitioning into a gas, what is happening is something called evaporation. If you have a gas going back into a liquid, that is called condensation. If you have a liquid transitioning into a solid, that is known as freezing. You could think of this in terms of an ice cube. You put the solid, being the ice cube. What happens if you leave the ice cube on top of a counter or inside of your glass? Over time, the ice cube is going to melt because it will have been affected by the heat in the surroundings. Eventually, you can take that same water that made the ice cube and put it into a pot or a crucible or something that you can use to boil liquids with. And if you add heat to it using your stove, guess what? It's going to seemingly disappear. But all that is happening is that the liquid is now turning into a gas known as water vapor. For a solid to change into a gas or to transition from a gas to a solid, so interchangeably, if a solid is transitioning into a gas or a gas is transitioning back to a solid without passing through the liquid phase, that is referred to as sublimation, and that is our E. Heat energy. So, gain or loss of heat energy and sublimation. Heat energy is lost via the freezing and condensation transitions. Heat energy is gained via the melting and evaporation transitions. Sublimation is a transition which skips the liquid phase because it is a transition that can go directly from solid to gas and vice versa. Heat is lost and heat can be gained depending on which direction the physical change is going from. Examples of substances which sublime are carbon dioxide, sometimes referred to as dry ice, naphthalene balls, which is a component in mothballs. Also, iodine crystals, they can go from solid to a gas. Diffusion. The idea that particles are in constant motion is called the kinetic particle theory. Diffusion is the movement of a particle from an area where they are at their highest concentration to an area where they are less concentrated. Diffusion occurs in gases and liquids. The rate of diffusion in gases are faster than that of liquids. An example of diffusion is smelling the sweet fragrance of a perfume from a room probably 20 meters away. Or you could be sleeping in your bed and you would know when your mother or father or aunt or uncle or any loved one is cooking breakfast for you. Osmosis is a special case of diffusion. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from an area where they are at their highest concentration to an area where they are at least concentration across a partially permeable membrane. An example of osmosis is placing a peeled potato with a groove filled with sugar into a petri dish of water. The water on the outside of the potato will cross into the groove of the potato, eventually dissolving the sugar crystals. Here, the potato is acting like a partially permeable membrane. Thank you for listening to our second episode with Miss B Makes It Easier in Chemistry. Good day.